Hi everybody, my name is Stacy Cervenka. I'm the director of the Iowa Department for the Blind. Like blindness agencies across the country, we have an adjustment to blindness center called the Orientation Center for the Blind. And just like students all over the country, ours will be going home for the holidays in a few days. And often that can lead to a lot of anxiety because often students, when they go to training centers, they grow. They learn a lot of new skills. They become more independent than they perhaps were before. They learn how to cook, they learn how to clean, they learn how to navigate on their own. Families might have a difficult time adjusting their expectations. And so we're going to talk today about what students can do to prepare for going home for the holidays when you've learned some new skills, but your family members might not be aware of that. So I am here today with Karly Prinds, who is the director of the Iowa Orientation Center for the Blind. So hi Karly, how are you?
Good, how are you, Stacy?
Awesome. So tell me, what are some things that students can do in advance of their trip home to maybe prepare their family members or to ease their own minds?
I always tell students, talk to your family ahead of time and let them know, hey, I am learning these skills in training, and so I would love to continue to practice my skills with you during the holidays, whether it's cooking or cleaning or organization, decorating the house for Christmas and New Year's, things of that sort. And just kind of give their families a heads up of the things that they've been learning and letting them know that they do want to participate in the holiday gatherings this year.
I think that's a great idea to kind of, open that conversation with your family members in advance. And I think sometimes it can be helpful to also tell them what they can do to be helpful and to support you so that they understand that if you do need help, like you are willing to ask for it and they don't need to worry about that, because if you need something, you'll let them know. So, maybe saying, yeah, one thing that would be helpful is, can I get a ride to church, or can I get a ride to grandma's house, or, can I maybe show up at your house a little early so you can just show me around your kitchen, kind of giving them ways that they could be helpful.
I think having that open communication is really great. And their family members may not be used to them asserting themselves and speaking up and asking those questions previous. But now that they're in training, they have that confidence and self-reliance to be able to feel comfortable to do that.
Now, what happens if, what would you advise students to do if, let's say that they're trying to help with Christmas dinner, or they're helping with Christmas dinner, and a family member tries to take over, tries to micromanage the task, or gets overly concerned about their safety? What are some things that students can do or say in the moment?
I would suggest them saying, hey, I'm learning a lot of new things every day and I got this. You can be polite about it and let them know, I really would like to practice this and it's okay. Like if I need help, I'll ask for it. If I don't need help, I will continue to do what I need to do, and I appreciate your concern.
So what would you suggest students do if, let's say, they politely tell the family member they've got it, it's under control, but the family member pushes back and, insists on wrestling that knife out of your hands, or, no, you got to get out of this kitchen, it's dangerous, there's fire here, what would you suggest students do?
I think it's important to set those boundaries. How about you watch to see how I do this? And sometimes it might be, there might be a time where it's like, okay, like I got to set a boundary of maybe
do I need to be around this person?
Right. Maybe it's that I'm going to work with another family member or things of that sort. So I think really setting those firm boundaries, but being respectful about it. And I think in the moment, you'll know what is best for you and what is best for them and how to say what you need to say to get your point across respectfully and politely as possible.
Well, and I think it's also important to make sure that people understand that, you as a blind person, you have the right to be treated respectfully.
Yes, you do.
And you have the right to be included in your family. That's not, that's an understandable thing to want. That's a valid thing to want. It's valid to be wanted. It's valid to want to be treated fairly and included. So, you're not wrong for wanting that. And sometimes you have to set those boundaries. I know people who've had to say, to family members, I'd I'd really like to come to that, but I really didn't like the way I was treated last year.
Right.
And, you know, I'm only going to come if I can be included in cooking dinner, or if I can be included in, you know, putting up the Christmas lights or whatever it is that you're doing. Like last year was, you know, really uncomfortable for me. I felt like I was, you know, plopped in a chair and no one talked to me, and just kind of letting your family members know like what behavior you're willing to be around and what behavior you're not willing to be around.
Right. And I think sometimes, you know, I always tell students, like, you don't know what you don't know, right? It's new for your family. It's new for you to have these skills. And hopefully, you know, when you talk to your family members about those boundaries, if and when you have to set them, they will, hopefully they'll realize and understand, oh, you know, this is the new person, right? And they should deserve respect just like myself and anybody else. And hopefully it won't be a big deal, but I think it's important to advocate for yourself and set those boundaries when needed.
And to know that after you, I mean, again, I think that's self-care. I just want to make sure it's understood that self-care is so important during the holidays. You don't have to do everything. You are not there is no event that you are obligated to go to. One item that we kind of haven't talked about is that what if, you know, sometimes people experience sort of being put in the proverbial corner, even if it's not a physical corner, kind of being just, you know, shown to a chair and just expected to just sit there, or shown to the couch and expected to just sit there. So what can people do if you know, they kind of find themselves like plopped in a chair and everyone else is in the other room or in a different part of the room? What would you recommend students do?
Stand up, go join the party, go in that other room and mingle with the crowd and see what's going on, and maybe if there's dishes to be done or something to be, you know, gravy to be stirred or whatever, get in there and do that, you know. But I say, you know, stand up and move around and just get out of that chair.
And so sometimes I think it's helpful to say, hey guys, like, how can I help? Can I chop veggies, or do you want me to make the gravy, or do you want me to frost the cake, or, you know, like literally list out the things that you're willing to do. Because I think sometimes when you say, you know, how can I help, people just are like,
oh, nothing, you're good.
You're good, exactly. So if you say like, you know, can I do the dishes, or do you want me to wipe down counters or whatever, you know, then you're kind of letting people know that like, yes, I'm willing to do this. And they might say, oh yeah, you know what, actually we do need someone to wipe down the counter in the other room or something. Well, this has been a great discussion. Thank you so much, Karly.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, I hope some of the things we shared have been helpful for you today. It's important to remember that you do deserve to be included in your family and treated with respect. It can sometimes be helpful to open the conversation early and make a plan for how you're going to act if challenging situations come up, and to set those healthy boundaries. And to remember that your skills don't disappear just because you're at home, just because you're not at the center anymore, and it is a great idea to practice them, even if you sometimes don't feel like you have something mastered. As Karly says, practice makes progress. And if you're interested in learning some of the skills we've talked about today, please feel free to contact us at the Iowa Department for the Blind. Happy holidays!